On the afternoon of October 17, 1814, a vat of fermenting porter at the Meux and Company Brewery on Tottenham Court Road in London began to fail. A large iron hoop slipped from the side of the vessel. A clerk noticed it, reported it to a supervisor, and was told it was nothing to worry about. An hour later, 100,000 gallons of beer were moving through the streets of St. Giles at the speed of a river in flood. The Meux Brewery was one of the great industrial operations of its age, and its vats were enormous. The largest held over 3,000 barrels of porter, a dark, heavy ale that had been aging for months. When the weakened vat catastrophically ruptured, it struck an adjacent vat, which struck another. The chain reaction was nearly instantaneous. A 15-foot wave of dark beer burst through the back wall of the brewery and into the surrounding neighborhood. St. Giles was one of London's most densely packed slums, a warren of tenements housing Irish immigrant workers and their families. It was a Monday afternoon and people were home. The flood hit without warning. Cellar dwellings, one-room apartments below street level, the cheapest available shelter, filled with beer in minutes. 2 houses collapsed. 8 people were killed, most of them women and children, drowned in their own homes by an ocean of alcohol. One woman, reportedly sitting at a wake for her recently deceased son, was swept away. In the aftermath, neighbors scooped beer from the streets with buckets, pots, and hats. The smell of porter reportedly hung over the neighborhood for weeks. The Meux Brewery brought the matter before a coroner's jury. The verdict: act of God. The company owed no compensation to the families of the dead. The story has one final detail that stops the reader cold. In the days following the disaster, impoverished families in St. Giles, already living in conditions of extreme deprivation, began charging admission to see the bodies of their relatives laid out in their front rooms. For many of these families, the brief income from curious visitors was a meaningful financial supplement. The London beer flood killed 8 people, ruined hundreds of lives, was deemed an act of God, and generated a small cottage industry of grief tourism. The brewery was eventually found not liable. In 1814, that was simply how things worked.